Today is Monday the 21st of October and this is My Queer Week. Today on MQW, Air Canada says adieu to ladies and gentlemen, Izzy Folau says he won't back down, and the Archbishop in Australia tells its same-sex supporters to leave the church. All this and more coming up in this week's episode of MQW. Hey everyone, my name is Tom Reagan and welcome back to this week's episode of MQW. As I said before, it is the 21st of October and we've got some news stories to go through with you today, so let's get right stuck into it. But first, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to this YouTube channel so you get to see every Monday's post of your weekly dose of LGBTIQ+ news. Okay, first up this week, Air Canada has said adieu to saying ladies and gentlemen on board of its flights. Air Canada has announced today that it will no longer address passengers as ladies and gentlemen, or in French, mesdames and messieurs, and will use general gender-neutral greetings like "Good morning everybody" in an effort to be more conscious of gender-fluid passengers. A spokeswoman for Air Canada said, "We work hard to make sure all employees feel like valued members of our family while ensuring our customers are comfortable and respected when they choose to travel with us." So good on you, Air Canada, for stepping forward and taking ownership of the changes in our community and the changes in the world to do with gender and sexuality. I think it's a great thing. The Archbishop of the Church has asked its same-sex supporters to leave the church. Sydney Archbishop Glenn Davies, in his most recent presidential address in Sydney, has asked those appealing for the church to change its views on same-sex marriage to leave the church rather than push for the church to accept it and satisfy the lusts and pleasures of the world. That's a direct quote. Davies goes on to say, marriage is between a man and a woman. We cannot bless same-sex marriage for the simple reason we cannot bless sin. He goes on to ask supporters of same-sex marriage to leave. Please leave us. We have far too much work to do in evangelizing Australia to be distracted by the constant pressures to change our doctrine in order to satisfy the lusts and pleasures of the world. I mean, for people who are within that church who are open-minded and changing their point of view, I say you don't need the church if they're going to treat you like this. If they're going to shun and shut out people who are loving and welcoming of all different aspects of life, then I say they don't deserve you as people, and you can do better off finding it in a different church or a different religion or any way that you feel fit. But I say it's their loss because they're losing some great people in the church. Izzy Folau says he won't back down from his social media posts. Izzy Folau, the infamous rugby player who had his high-profile contract with Rugby Australia torn up over a controversial Instagram post, has stated at the Australian Christian Lobby that he stands by the post and would absolutely do it again. I mean, will this guy ever learn? I mean, I don't even know why I bother giving this guy any airtime, and I can't wait for the day when this is all done and dusted. It's shown that, in fact, it wasn't a religious freedom issue. It was, in fact, a breach of his social media contract, and Izzy Folau, that's all it is, and that's all it's going to be. Own up to your mistake and live with the consequences. There's been a top award given to an art therapy group. It was announced last week that a Queensland-based art therapy program specifically tailored for LGBTIQ+ youth has won a mental health award. The program is run by Open Doors Youth Services to help improve the mental health of our youth in Queensland by providing support and connections to other LGBTIQ+ youth and communities. Mental health issues are rampant in our society and in all of society, but in particular, I care about the LGBTIQ+ community, and I want to talk about that. And I feel like that it's very important that that programs like this are being recognised because the work they do helps so many young people who are struggling with their sexuality and struggling being within their community, and they just need to find like-minded people and have that support. And I'm very happy for the Open Doors Youth Services of Queensland to win this award. They deserve it, and no one deserves to be alone. And if you're watching this and you're one of those people that hasn't come out yet or isn't getting support, I'll post a couple of links in the information below so you know where to go to find the support that you need. Less freedom for the Religious Discrimination Bill. A letter was written to the government this week from the Victorian Equal Opportunity and Human Rights Commission in regards to the Religious Discrimination Bill. The Commission states that the freedom of people to enjoy their own personal religion and beliefs should not mean that they are able to cram it down the throats of others. All people in Australia should be protected from discrimination, but religious expression needs to be balanced against other rights, such as the right to be free from discrimination. This bill does not get the balance right, and I'm glad that this Victorian Commission has finally stepped forward and made a common sense approach to this discrimination bill, or the Religious Freedom Bill. I think the bill could work if it's worked a little bit more, and these balances are left and right, and these balances are moved across the board, so everyone is treated fairly and equally. At the moment, it's just allowing people who are religious to discriminate against everyone else, and that's not fair. There needs to be some sort of line drawn that we can't discriminate against people with religion, and they can't discriminate against us, but it can't come into effect people's lives, their health, their workplace and stuff like that. There needs to be some sort of line and definite black and white agreement settled in this discrimination bill. There has been an LGBTIQ plus murder in Uganda. Now, last week I spoke about how the Ugandan government is trying to bring back the death penalty for homosexuality, and this has sparked a lot of hate crimes and tensions in the Ugandan state. And there has been a murder of Brian Waswa, who was a human rights worker in Uganda. The government have come back and said that they are not introducing the bill anymore because of the backlash that they got, which is good, but there's still a lot of tensions within the community between LGBTIQ plus people and people who are against it. So our thoughts and our hopes go out to the communities and the government in that area to rectify this issue and make sure that our LGBTQI plus people are safe and feel comfortable in Uganda. An app to see how gay you are. Scientists have slammed the relevance and nature of a new app that is said to determine how gay you are and have called for it to be removed. I mean, yes, why would anyone need an app to know how gay they are? The app analyzes DNA, and now I have no idea how this is possible without having a hair or a blood or a saliva sample, but that's what it does, and it gives you a result of how gay you are. I mean, I don't need any apps to tell me how gay I am. 100% sure I know. But this app is probably not good to be out in the market, so I'm glad that this group of scientists have asked for it to be brought down. Will and Grace get a surprise air date in Australia. The final season of Will and Grace commences airing this Friday, which is very exciting. I love Will and Grace. The episodes will be available on Stan, and this is said to be the last and final season and episodes of the reboot of the famous TV series. So a little bit of exciting news for us and something for us to watch on Friday night. World Pride is heading for Sydney. That's right, in 2023, Sydney will be the host to the World Pride event, which is amazing news. Sydney took out the win, where voters by more than 60% chose Sydney over Houston, Texas, and over Montreal in Canada. World Pride started back in 2000 with its inaugural event held in Rome. World Pride events are some of the largest events held, and there seem to be a rather odd frequency of patterns. I tried to find a pattern in how often they occurred. At first I thought it was like every 3 or 4 years, sort of like an Olympics, but it was in Rome in 2000, 2006 was in Jerusalem, 2012 was in London, 2014 Toronto, 2017 Madrid, 2019 NYC, 2021 is going to be in Copenhagen, and 2023 is going to be in Sydney. So it's very exciting news. Congratulations to everyone who was working hard to make this happen, and we're excited to accept the world into our community and show them what the LGBTQI plus spirit means here in Australia. Alright, that wraps up our week for this week. I hope you enjoyed everything that I spoke about today. If I left anything out, please leave it in the comments below and get involved in the conversation. Okay, now it's time for LGBTIQ plus history today. On October 19th, 1901, Alberto Santos Dumont, a gay man from Brazil, flew his aircraft around the Eiffel Tower. And for those of you who know history about flight and air travel, that was 2 years before the Wright Right, I was about to say the Righteous Brothers, they're the singers, before the Wright brothers' first inaugural flight, which is amazing. And in October 16th, 1793, Marie Antoinette was accused of lesbian, among other things, and she was beheaded. So that's a more morbid side of our history, but it is our history and we all need to know about it. So I hope you enjoyed those history quips. Well, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's episode of MQW. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you know when I post videos every Monday. If I've left anything out, please let me know in the comments. And as always, I will see you next week. See you later.